hard bodies, sex appeal, and banging tracks. The gym promo, the fitness vid, the athletic brand piece, whatever you want to call it, if you're a content creator, there's a high chance you're gonna end up making one. And it's easy, right? Just get some good looking people, film them working out, add some haze, add some light tubes, and you're golden, right? Wrong. While it might be relatively easy to make a fitness promo, it's hard to make a good fitness promo, and it's even harder to make an original fitness promo. So in this video, I'm going to show you my approach to filming a fitness promo for my local gym, which doesn't feature all the exact same tropes you always see. We're going to break down the process step by step from planning to production, so you learn what works, why I choose to make the rather unorthodox choices, and my top tips on how it can inform you to make your own gym promo. No light tubes necessary. So it's time to witness the fitness.
Witness the fitness, the Grafton living.
Aesthetics equals quality. Why do we use good looking people to be our fitness models rather than regular looking people? First, fitness is aspirational, so most gyms want to show what people would like to look like once they join the gym. You know, like Freeze's final form, not his early forms. Start a gym membership and you too can look like this. Is it realistic? Well, no. Freeze's power level rapidly diminishes after taking his final form. He can't maintain it. But that's not really the point. Using a good-looking fitness model means that aesthetically you are already tricking your audience into thinking you have created a beautiful image, when in fact it is the person you are filming that provides that beauty. This is an illusion. This is not restricted to fitness videos, but any video or photo with someone who is good looking will subconsciously trick us into thinking the image itself is good looking. From Hollywood to fashion, photography to YouTube, the trick is on display 24/7. So while it maybe is a cheap trick, it's an easy win. So cast your fitness models to be, well, very fit.
Really ridiculously good looking?
Start with a strong concept. Don't just spray and pray. Our fitness video concept was quite simple. Anytime Fitness is a 24-hour gym, meaning it's never closed and you go when you want. That is its biggest selling point and something that makes it very convenient. So to sell this aspect, I pitched the idea of showing a couple of the clients going in both the daytime and the nighttime with the tagline, Anytime Fitness, Fitness any time. Simple, straightforward, to the point. The idea was to match cut between the daytime and nighttime as both members work out. I thought this would make it more interesting than simply showing fitness models just kind of looking beautiful and working out, like the cliche version that we want to try and avoid. Now we have a story and we can shoot to that story rather than simply film people exercising for the sake of filming people exercising. So after enlisting our two actors who were just members of said gym, we started planning the shoot. But there were a few obstacles that meant we had to think a little bit outside of the box. Firstly, we only have a few hours to film everything, as this was the only time we had both actors available and the gym was considered quiet enough that we wouldn't be disturbing the regular members. We couldn't close the gym because, again, this is a 24/7 gym. I mean, that's the point of this whole video. So it would have to remain open as we filmed and would have to work around the people exercising. We also couldn't adjust the internal lighting. Normally we'd turn all the lights off in the gym and then create our own lighting setup. But in this case, with people at the gym needing to see what they were doing, we could only bring in some lights to support whatever naturally existed with the big fluorescents beaming down from the roof. This was going to be tough. We also couldn't turn the music off at the gym either, which means we couldn't really record sound without infringing on copyright. And perhaps the most devastating of all blows, we couldn't use that beloved haze. As mentioned, the mark of any fitness video is throwing up a bit of haze in the background, but we'd risk setting off the fire alarm, so that was also not possible. But like all good filmmaking, those constraints helped inform what we could do. So the next tip is to find your point of difference. Ask yourself, how can I bring something different to this process? Point of difference 1, the gear. We used a red Gemini along with the DZO Pictor zooms. The zooms offer a nice look, but also a lot of flexibility for reframing shots quickly. So because of our very limited time in the gym, they're a great option to grab more angles. The red Gemini is probably not the camera you imagine filming a fitness video, but the truth is it's going to provide a much better image than anything Sony. Don't hate, just stating facts. The real benefit of the Gemini, however, is shooting in red RAW and the dynamic range and latitude the camera provides. Point of difference 2, the lighting style. Because we had very little control over the light, we could only introduce more powerful lights and hard light as opposed to soft light. Because of the Gemini's dynamic range, we could utilize this style of lighting without blowing out or overexposing our image. Using a Sony camera in the same environment with this look would fall apart immediately because it has so much less dynamic range and latitude to work with and couldn't manage those same contrasting light ratios. For our lights, we use the Aperture Nova as our main sort of key light and the Aperture 1200D as our big backlight because it was powerful enough to compete with the house lights in the gym. Again, to avoid cliche, we decided there would be no use of tube lights either. This is a point of difference. No tube lights. You've seen them too many times. We're cutting them out. Point of difference 3, no handheld filming. That's right, nothing handheld. We used a Dana dolly to create dynamic movement in our shots, and I edited it in such a way as to generate momentum through the cuts. This is because we decided to film everything entirely on a tripod, rather than going with the conventional, perhaps cliche, handheld shaky cam gym look. We wanted all of our shots to look purposeful and controlled. This would also help with our edits so that they matched well. Don't arrive with an idea, come with a plan. Location recce's and pre-production prep will always give you a huge advantage when it comes to the shoot day. And because we knew we only had a few hours, our prep was even more important. First step of prep was to do a recce of the gym. So myself and ISAZH, my director of photography, went along with the camera just to try and block out where and what we were going to film, walking around the area and gauging the best shots that we could find, using myself as the subject for reference. What we were looking for in these shots is depth in frame, which I'm always talking about, and where ISAZH could put his lights for those sections. From this dummy run, we were able to establish a rough storyboard of what we wanted to film in the time that we had. I cannot recommend this enough as part of any film preparation because knowing the space you can film and creating a plan through blocking will inform every other part of your shoot. It will also lead to fresh and new ideas as you see things you could not have visualized in your head without actually being on location. Be open to new ideas. Although on the shoot day we tried to replicate our storyboards for the most part, we also kept an open mind to new shots we had not originally conceived of that we thought looked good, like the battle rope work here. Apart from moving some of the exercise bikes around, we were constrained by the locations of the gym equipment. And as mentioned, we consciously chose areas that would provide depth in our shots. So it's not just the space the models are occupying, but the space behind them as well. The process was pretty straightforward. We would film the daylight scene, and then we would reset the lights and film the nighttime scene. To achieve this effect, we simply changed the temperature of the lights and the white balance on the camera. These changes would create this blue nighttime look. We also sometimes removed the backlight for those night scenes to help sell the effect that everything had gotten darker. Now, where possible, we would use the Dana dolly and push in and push out on our actors, allowing me the flexibility to choose where I would match cut between these shots. For the boxing section, we had both actors perform the same series of punches so that we could cut between each part of that combination and it seem as smooth as possible. We would normally film 2 takes of each setup with each actor, and most of the footage is actually shot at 24 frames per second with only a couple of setups utilizing slow motion. As exercise in slow motion is another one of those common fitness video cliches that we were trying not to fall into. For the exterior shots, we actually did use the Sony FX3 as we had it running on a gimbal when tracking each actor into or out of the gym, with the idea that one of the final shots would be them crossing paths, day meeting night. We filmed the daytime exterior shots in the late afternoon. First thing was our first shot of the day, and we shot the nighttime exterior shots as the very last shot when the sun was well and truly gone down. Ultimately, we probably ended up filming for about 3.5 hours, and we had probably just over 20 different camera setups. Your edit can help provide your footage with new energy, bringing the project into the edit. I would say that this was the most time-consuming part of the project and the part that needed the most attention. All of the sense of action and momentum that we might normally have felt through handheld camera movement had to be manufactured and created through the rhythm of the edit itself. So the edit creates and drives the action rather than purely what the actors were doing on the day. First, I created a very loose edit of everything we had filmed, then I went through looking for a music track. Now, full transparency, finding that music track took much longer than the edit itself. I spent over half a day trialing different music tracks in that timeline because we had no audio, so I knew that everything hinged on finding the perfect track. This music was all sourced from Artlist, which is an online subscription-based service providing thousands of royalty-free tracks along with sound effects and stock footage. I've been using Artlist for years now, and its music library is part of almost all my work. You can use my discount code in the description for 3 months free when you sign up. Ultimately, I settled on 2 tracks to cut to for my edits that I felt perfectly fit the video. In terms of my approach to the edit, I did cut to the beat of the music at different times for emphasis, but I also tried to avoid the entire edit fitting into this rather dull formula. I also tried to build from slower movements and exercises with longer shots into more high energy rope and boxing work with faster cuts. Just subconsciously, the goal being to continue to up the ante and build the momentum and rhythm to a climax before the final logos appear. Then ISAZH went through and gave everything a quick color grade. My first edit was about 1 minute and 30 seconds, but after reviewing with several people, I worked to trim the fat and ended up with the video being a much leaner 48 seconds long. I created vertical cut downs for the gym and some alternate versions featuring one actor only. The process of editing was probably 1 full day, including the music selection process. And if I was to look back on this project, I think one of the things I'd change is trying to find 2 actors of the same height, as this would have helped with the match cuts feeling smoother. But overall, this was a super fun project and a unique challenge because it's trying to make something feel different to every single thing that you've seen. So I hope some of this information has helped you. As always, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll see you when I see you.
Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. got a dream. Learned nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it.
Oh my god, so tired, so tired. Going to bed immediately. Good night.